Hi, good afternoon and welcome all of you. I hope you are doing well. And thank you for being there for this session and being curious about sociology, because when I had to think about what can be the tentative um, rubric or title for this discussion, I just thought that introducing sociology would be better, because anyone who is watching this session right now is a student who's not appearing for prelims and is just targeting next year or maybe next to next year. And such a student would be curious to know more about sociology, as in just knowing about the fact that, oh, it is associated with social issues, or having a flimsy understanding will not be catering to the need. So I thought that how about giving a detailed analysis of the sociology syllabus, and through that generating that definite sense of interest. So because when you see the syllabus, you get to know, oh, this would be taught, okay, after that this is something which I should look forward to. So I'll keep the session pretty simple, considering that majority of you are basic learners. You've just started with your preparation and you're just curious about the discipline, whether you are cut out for it or not, and how far it will help you in the selection. Previously, I have also created certain videos associated with the success rate of sociology. You can go to just 3 days, 2 days back. So you can just reflect upon that. The success rate, which is very consistent, about 10% almost every year. And along with that, like I have shared the success, I would say, mark sheet of Animesh Pradhan, and also like Dongri Lakshman. Lakshman had far more marks than Animesh, though Animesh was All India second rank. Lakshman was a student way back, and he was when he got the sociology highest marks, that was 3 years back. So you can just go through all that in the previous videos. So, and all the students who are watching it live, which I can see, you are most welcome to raise your questions, any kind of curiosity. That's the purpose of a live session. The rest of the students, you can raise your questions after, let's say if you're watching it offline, and if I will be regularly visiting the channel, and I'll be just checking out if there are any queries, I shall respond then and there. All right. So this is what I can say if anyone watches it later offline. Sorry, I mean when it is in a recorded mode. But presently, all those students who are live make the best out of it. All right. So let us start our journey related to sociology preparation. First, I'll just give you what I'm targeting. So when I'm saying to all curious aspirants, as you can see that, to all curious aspirants. So the curiosity, this term is used so very beautifully in your interview as well. If you see the syllabus of UPSC, UPSC actually talks about the possibility of alertness and curiosity, not only I would say at the interview level, at the civil services mains level. When you see the syllabus of ethics there, when we talk about civil services values, one of the values is pertaining to, I would say, curiosity, alertness. And similarly, when you reflect upon the same in prelims, if someone is not curious enough, the person will not be able to gauge the nature of questions that UPSC creates. Unlike the university level question paper, the question paper associated with civil services exam is so very different. For example, Russia and Ukraine were undergoing the war. So UPSC, rather than asking the dynamics of Russia-Ukraine war, which will be quite political in nature, it ended up asking in prelims the location of Ukraine and which sea, which water body is closest to it. So if Ukraine is in news, are you curious about the region geographically? And imagine, this is not something which has been only asked recently. Means such a question, the nature of such a question is not only recent. A question similar to this one was asked almost, I would say, 15, 17 years back also, when Kyoto Protocol was in news. So there was a question associated with it related to Kyoto Protocol. So everyone studied Kyoto Protocol. What are the details? They asked, where is Kyoto located in Japan? There are 4 islands: so Hokkaido, Honshu, Shikoku, Kyushu. Curiosity tested at prelims level, tested at mains level, tested at interview level. So I'm going to associate this term curiosity with respect to sociology and give you a brief insight that how this discipline is going to help you in your overall preparation, not only for optional but also assist in your journey related to general studies. So all those students who are watching, please feel free to raise your queries. Thank you, Pratyush. I'm good. I hope you are also doing well. So when we are going to start with this session, I'll just give you a brief insight about what the this slides are. So an in-depth analysis of sociology syllabus and its comparatives with the GS syllabus. This is what I'm going to target majorly in today's session. So there is an exhaustive insight related to the syllabus, paper 1, paper 2, which I'll be discussing. After this wholesome discussion, then I'll give you an insight about reading list. All those students who are curious that before the session starts, what are the books that I can purchase, or if anyone is into self-preparation journey, that I'll go ahead with self-study. I've done masters in sociology or something like that. So it's an open session so that it helps every single student. So I'll be giving you this insight associated with the book list as well. You will have a detailed access. So don't think that ma'am is scrolling it down. I'll be showing all this and explaining it in greater detail soon enough. Then I will also be discussing a comparison between sociology and GS question papers. You can see this. This is a sociology question and how it had a comparative with GS question paper, paper 1. Then there's this something associated with paper 1 again. Again, after that, and as recent as 2022. Then I have also given comparatives between sociology and GS paper 2, sociology and GS paper 3 question, as you can see GS paper 3, and sociology and GS paper 4. So all the 4 segments, all the 4 papers I'll be covering, how sociology is compared to all the 4 papers. It aids and assists your journey in all the 4 GS papers. Along with that, the component of essay as well gets facilitated. Last but not the least, I'll be briefly discussing about program highlights, how we are going to target the forthcoming sessions. Alright. So if there are any queries, you can feel free to ask those questions and I'll be supporting you with the same. So let us start. Alright. Let us start with a detailed and in-depth analysis related to the sociology syllabus and its comparative with GS syllabus, so that you have a wholesome understanding about if you are looking forward to this optional, what all is it going to offer? How is it going to assist topic after topic? That is something which I'll be working out. Okay, good afternoon, Swam Sudha. So when we are going to start with this one, first and foremost, we can see the syllabus. When we reflect upon the syllabus, the very first topic is saying sociology, the discipline, modernity and social change in Europe, and emergence of sociology. When we reflect upon the same, we all can see that this given topic, when it is saying modernity and social changes in Europe and emergence of sociology. So in what backdrop did sociology emerge as an independent discipline? That is something which I would be discussing. So here, when I'm talking about modernity and social changes were political changes, economic changes, and intellectual changes which gave birth to modernity. And when we talk about modernity, unlike the common sense understanding of modernity, that it is like being Western is modern, speaking in English is modern, having latest technology and gadgets is modern, or being contemporary, means of present times, is modern. All this is a fallacious understanding of modernity. If anyone is understanding modernity as this to be the real meaning of it. Modern is associated with being rational, logical, having a technical mindset, a scientific temperament, a questioning mind, a mind which believes in cause and effect relationship, which always looks into causal explanations. So when I say scientific explanation, a technical explanation, causal explanation to what is unfolding before all of us, rather than just believing things blindly. We all can see that when we unfold the mysticism and reality of human evolution, we can see that human societies, initially they were getting scared of thunder and rain and sun and all the natural phenomena used to overwhelm human beings. Even a shadow, human shadow, could scare them, or dreams could overwhelm them with emotions. Seeing one's own reflection in a pond would have raised a lot of curiosity and uncertainty in the mind of a primitive man. And with respect to that, there would have been the birth of religion or the idea of God or any such supernatural entity, which they felt is the one who is controlling it all and is explaining it all. And we cannot know the technicalities of it in totality. Then man slowly and steadily developed a sense of reasoning, and with respect to reasoning, we can see that metaphysical world unfolded and philosophy developed. And later on, that is, we can see 17th, 18th century onwards, the more scientific we became, more number of revolutions, scientific revolutions started shaping our reality in totality. That is, in economic terms, industrial revolution happened, whereby factory-based production, capitalist production, all that started happening when we are talking about. So, when we are talking about the same, we also can see that when we are discussing about the unfolding of all this with respect to the political change, human beings, they started questioning, do we really need a society whereby kings and queens are necessary? So when we talk about sociology as a discipline, sociology, when you get into the root word of it, societas plus logos, societas, society, logos, science. So the science of society. And when I say science of society, so science gets into causal explanation, right? Science does not believe in, I would say, believing things on face value. It will always inquire. It will always go for cause-effect relationship, data collection, hypothesis, testing of data, arriving at a thesis, like creating a theory, right? So this approach is also maintained in sociology. That is one of the reasons why we can see that in previous decades, not just previous few years, for decades, it is a very popular optional, especially with non-humanities background students. I mean, I can confidently say that in past 15 years of my teaching journey, about 80% of the students in the class are basically engineers and or doctors, and the rest 10% are associated with commerce background, and another 10% comprises of humanities background students. So it becomes a very popular optional for this reason, that it is the latest of all social sciences, and because it is the youngest, the latest, hence it is more scientific. It is more, I would say, based on case studies and exploring data, interpreting the data, not arriving at facts only on the basis of presumption. Okay, so it is always something which you can put to test. And if you are not a researcher, there are researchers who have tested, and then they arrive at a theory which you study and support your insights accordingly. All right. So I hope all of you are getting some idea about what sociology is about, right? How to understand sociology syllabus, because I thought that should I take sociology optional? Okay. So whoever is PWNU, because it's a very a short name, and I'm quite sure that a formal name must be there. So what I can suggest you, I'll call you P, because otherwise it will be tough for me to pronounce your name. So I'll address you as P. I hope that's agreeable. So what I'm saying is that I'll be giving a detailed understanding of sociology paper 1 and 2. All you have to do is be connected, look forward to it, that oh, this is what would be taught. All right, so this is something I have to look forward to. So and that's how you will get associated with the discipline, getting a wholesome understanding. All right, Pawan. So got your formal name and official name. So I'll be addressing you as Pawan. So the very first topic introduces you to European history. Yes, GS paper 1, when I talk about it, so GS paper 1, European history gets briefly covered with respect to this area. When we are talking about social changes in Europe, all the three changes, that is industrial revolution, after industrial revolution, we will also be reflecting upon, we can consider the political revolution. What was the political revolution? So we can see the French Revolution and how the French Revolution shaped new ideas, ideas pertaining to sovereignty, democracy, liberty, freedom, equality, human rights, all of it, which was not possible in the times of monarchy. So all that started getting shaped bit by bit. And all this, when it started getting shaped, it started questioning, what is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of society? What is the purpose of human beings staying together? How should they stay together? What should be the format of living politically, socially, economically? And when human beings started arriving at formal answers to these questions, sociology as a discipline emerged. Okay, so that's how we see. Again, we can see there is intellectual revolution. When I say intellectual revolution, we all can connect it with, in your syllabus, history. Once again, you will be listening to this word, Renaissance. It is pronounced as Renaissance, written as Renaissance, okay, but pronounced as Renaissance. So you will be reading about Renaissance. So in intellectual revolution, we are not listening or we are not reading about Renaissance. We are reading about post-Renaissance period, okay, post-Renaissance period, which is also called the period of enlightenment. Period of enlightenment. So in this period of enlightenment, there are a lot of thinkers like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, you can see Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, you will find Immanuel Kant. All these thinkers are there in GS paper 4. GS paper 4, you have Western philosophers and thinkers, which is taught in great detail in paper 4. So that component is something which gets connected to the intellectual revolution. Now, every time I teach a chapter to the students, after the completion of the chapter, I discuss the previous year questions so that not only a child gets a wholesome understanding of the chapter with the explanation of the chapter, the handout to support. Handout is nothing but class notes. I refrain from dictating too much because I believe anything that can be dictated can also be supported in the form of notes. So more time should be invested in discussion, in content building, in context building, in analysis building, because what we think is what we learn. In terms of dictation, I feel it creates a lot of burnout, because if a student is non-stop writing for half an hour or 1 hour, the child tends to feel fatigued. And while writing, the exercise can be mechanical. I always say that if someone is writing, for first 5 minutes, the child will pay attention. But after that, it is just like swimming or driving. You can see women applying lipstick while driving, sometimes men or women having sandwiches while driving, or taking calls over the Bluetooth while driving. It's effortless. You can do time. Similarly, the brain can write, and while writing, it can keep thinking about something else. So that's why I believe that beyond a point, dictation becomes not so creative an exercise. So I believe that support the content in a soft copy form majorly, and whatever you discuss in the class, the handout and the notes, keep drawing flowcharts, keep simplifying the material, keep highlighting the keywords so that the student knows and learns how to prepare notes, and then discuss the previous year questions as the chapter becomes over. Because when the chapter gets over, you know what to study and what will be too much of detailing. Like for example, if in any book, or like let's say any teacher is getting into too much of details of, like let's say, post-Renaissance thinkers, and starts like discussing a lot of Western philosophers and thinkers in chapter 1 sociology, I mean, I won't say that it's irrelevant. It is connected somewhere in a very in-depth manner to the first chapter, but in last 30 years, 30 years, not even a single time there has been a question in sociology associated with these Western philosophers and thinkers. Not even a single time. 30 years, it's not like discuss the ideas of Immanuel Kant and how he has helped in the development of sociology. No, not such in-depth questions. What will sociology ask? Discuss how the intellectual antecedents, or if not intellectual antecedents word, if it is tough for you, how the intellectual revolution, the intellectual thinkers of the West like shaped the possibility of emergence of sociology. So general overview, and that too you have to write only in 150 words. That means 2 pages. So when we talk about how things have to be read, not only what has to be read, also what not has to be read, how and how to process the information, how much to get into in depth. Because see, at university level, if I would have been teaching the same course, I would have been going into details, length and breadth of these thinkers. But this is done in GS paper 4. In sociology, it's not needed. So knowing what to study and how far to study and where to stop, that is something which is very essential. All right. So how to cover current affairs, I'll be talking about it, Anjali. All those students who are curious about, like, about the possibility associated with how to cover current affairs with sociology, just stay connected. I'll be opening the chapters bit by bit and you'll be able to see that. All right. So And those students who are also confused between optionals, I'm liking this also, this also, this also, whether sociology is good for me or not, whether I'm cut out for it or not. So all those answers will also get responded soon. Because when you get engaged with what the discipline is all about, you can have a comparative understanding associated with what it is not about. And then I can take up specific questions associated with the same. All right, Rumaisa? Now, so when we are talking about the very first topic, I hope you can understand in the first chapter, first topic, was it what is it all about? Then there is scope and subject and comparison with other social sciences. Now, scope of the subject. So, scope means territory, boundary means what are the topics, what are the interest areas of this subject, and how sociology as a syllabus can be connected with other disciplines, means sociology compared to psychology. What are the points of similarity and what are the points of dissimilarity? Sociology and political science, what are the points of similarity, what are the dissimilarity? Sociology and anthropology, what are the points of similarity, what are the points of dissimilarity? So something like that, like just brief notes is asked by UPSC, 150 words, that's it. When I say 150 words answer, let me tell you, in sociology, about 13 questions, yes, 13 questions are of 150 words. So all those people who feel, oh my god, I have to get into too much of in-depth understanding, well, there are topics where the in-depth insight has to be built. But when it comes to the writing part, there is not a lot of writing involved. Unlike university courses, because in university, when a student is belonging to humanities background, the child has to keep writing sheets, and then the child keeps asking, sir sheet, ma'am sheet, sir sheet, ma'am sheet, and other students, they get overwhelmed, they get stressed out. Again this person is asking a lot of sheets, god knows what the student is writing. It's not here, it's just not here. You will be finding that here there is a limitation to the words. That's why science students really enjoy this discipline, because once they understand the concept, they know that what are the key deliverables, and once I memorize it, I just have to write that much. So there's not much of hanky-panky when we talk about it. So I'll just show you when we are talking about this given possibility related to the nature of the question paper. So I can just give you a brief insight related to the same. See, in the question paper, if I talk about sociology, whether I talk about paper 1 or I talk about paper 2, either of it, there is section A and then there is section B. In section A, question number 1 is compulsory, and in section B, question number 5 is compulsory, means no one can skip it. And this has 5 subparts, this has 5 subparts when we talk about it. If I'm saying 5 subparts, each subpart is of 10 marks and 150 words. Okay, and there are 5 questions, as you can see, 5 questions. They are compulsory questions. You can see 150 words. Okay, and here also the same thing, 10 marks. Okay, and then we can see 150 words worth of 5 questions. So all of you can see that question number in section A, question number 1 and question number 5 of section B are compulsory. You have to do. So 10 questions are invested like this. Now with respect to this, question number 2, 3 and 4, question number 6, 7 and 8, we can see they are divided into 3 parts each. 3 parts each. When I say 3 parts, the marks is 20, 20, 10. Same, you can see 20, 20, 10. And again you can see this 20, 20, 10. Same applies to this also. 3 parts each. Alright. And out of these remaining 6, you need to choose 3 more. One should be from each of the sections. So now when I'm talking about compulsory question, you can see question number 1 is compulsory and question number 5 is compulsory. Now I need to choose one from each. So like let's say I choose 2. Here I choose suppose 7, question number 7. One more has to be chosen. Total there should be 5 questions that you have responded. So suppose like out of all of this, like let us say I choose like let's say 3. Okay. So now if I talk about 10 marker questions, you can see that 5 questions are 10 marker, right? Over here also 5 questions are of 10 marker, right? Apart from this, this is one 10 marker, this is second 10 marker, And like, let's say if I'm choosing question number 7, so it's 20, 20, 10. So this is third 10 marker. So in toto, 5 plus 5 and then 10, 10, 10. So in toto, we will be seeing there are 13 questions which are 10 markers. Okay. And then when I talk about 20 marks question, there are 6 questions. 6 questions. The 20 marks question, they do not specify the word limit. They do not specify the word limit. But we can guess that if 10 marker compulsory question is 150 word, we expect that the 6 questions, 20 marker question will be 300 words. So you can see there is a dominance of short questions. 13 questions, 10 marker means 150 word questions are 13. 6 questions, only 6 questions are 20 marker, that is 300 word. Whereas in GS, what is the trend that we all are aware of? So in GS, we can see there are 10 questions which are of 150 words. And then we can see there are 10 questions which are of 250 words. And this is sociology. Okay. So when it comes to being a precise discipline, you know the key points and you can deliver it in limited frame of words. This is what it is expecting from you in terms of the question paper, right? I hope all of you are getting an idea how to deal with the question paper, what to expect from the question paper. This has been the trend for almost a decade and a half. Now, when we speak of the syllabus, back to it again. So the next subpart related to the syllabus, if we talk about it, so there is this, you can say, a very interesting term, sociology as science. Why sociology as science? Because unlike natural science like biology, chemistry, physics, it's not like them. But we call any discipline as a science which has inquiry, which has experimentation, which has data collection, which has hypothesis, which has testing the hypothesis, right? Which has possibility of creating a thesis, a theory, and all that is possible in sociology. There is experimentation, there is hypothesis creation, there is testing of hypothesis, arriving at a theory, all of it. So first, a brief understanding, what do we understand by the word meaning science? What is science? Then what do we understand by scientific method? What are the scientific methods we do for research? Very briefly, very briefly. Imagine 150 words max. Because in the end of the day, whatever the question would be, you'll have to deliver in 150 words. So even if you're reading like, let's say 2000 words, which I don't create, okay? So even if you're reading something in great detail from any book, but in the end of the day, every student has to remember that the person has to deliver it within 150 words. Okay. So that's something which I'll be talking about. And the critique means what is the criticism of science? How we cannot completely go ahead with a natural science approach. We need to have an interpretative approach because we are talking about human behavior. Society is what we are studying in sociology. So human beings can vary, communities can vary in their responses to the same crisis, right? Suppose if I'm talking about human behavior, we all can see, suppose someone enters the room and a person is hiding behind the door. And the moment the person enters, the person gives a tight slap. And the person like, ha ha ha, I'm hit, and runs away. Second person enters, the moment the person hits, this person hits back twice harder, right? Third person enters the room, the moment this person is about to hit, the person holds the hand and is like saying that, bhai, what is your problem? Let us have a like normal conversation. Why are you angry? Let us sort out the issue. Maybe you are not having the right presumption about me. So that person is cool, calm, collected, finding a solution, right? Different human beings can have different responses. That's why the element of subjectivity is always there when we are studying societies. Because after all, studying societies, communities, human behavior will have that element of subjectivity. And that is something which we will be talking about when we are talking about major theoretical strands of research methodology. Because in the major theoretical strands, we will be understanding how the interpretative approach is also important in sociology. Yes, the student who was asking about sociology and psychology, so the interpretative discipline of George Herbert Mead, when we talk about G.H. Mead, when we talk about interactionism, symbolic interactionism, when we talk about phenomenology, ethnomethodology, all these are based on interpretative approach, and it's also used in psychology. So that's also used in sociology. So that's the comparative. The student was curious about the similarity. So Oh, that's so very sweet. Thank you, Sarthak, for being curious. So, when we are talking about this positivism, that might be a new word for anyone who's curious about the discipline. Positivism means having an approach of natural science. Natural science means biology, chemistry, physics, like that. So, can sociology have a natural science approach? Yes, it can have that. And contrary to that, what is the limitation? How far we cannot go with natural science approach? So, its critique also has to be understood. So, how far we can go ahead with facts in sociology? What is the weightage of facts? Can we attach our human values while studying about human societies, communities? That's value. And objectivity, which is one of the tools in science, right? Objective approach, subjective approach. Subjectivity is interpretation. Objectivity is factual observation. So, how far we can be objective in sociological research? That's what it is all about. And non-positivist methodology is nothing but interpretative sociology. I told you interpretative sociology is interpreting the other person's act. Like, I'll give you a basic example and you'll be like, oh my god, it's that simple. Words like, suppose ethno-methodology, like, कितना भारी word है, नहीं हो पा रहा है, right? लेकिन जैसे ही आपको पता चलेगा, अरे ethno-methodology कुछ नहीं है, day to day life का interaction है. When we are studying about day to day life activities and how we interpret it, like suppose I tell someone, भाई चाय वाय ला दूं, ठीक है? अब वो बंदा मेरे लिए चाय भी ला रहा है, उसके साथ 2 बिस्किट ला रहा है. मैंने तो नहीं बोला 2 बिस्किट लाने. तो उसने वाई को 2 बिस्किट कैसे समझा? यही समझेगा एक रिसर्चर. That when we speak in our day-to-day life, minor micro activities, there is a lot of unsaid conversation that happens. Like a lot gets communicated whereby the language is neither formal nor necessarily having a meaning. But still, the person who's listening to it interprets it. So, how did the person interpret it? That is a matter of curiosity for ethno-methodologists. Philosophy वाले भी पढ़ते हैं, ठीक है, सोशियोलॉजी वाले भी पढ़ते हैं, साइकोलॉजी वाले भी पढ़ते हैं, ठीक है, मेजरली साइकोलॉजी और सोशियोलॉजी वाले पढ़ते हैं. तो इतना सिंपल सा तो है एथनो मेथोडोलॉजी, एथनो एथनिक डेली लाइफ की चीजें. तो ये है नॉन पॉजिटिविस्ट अप्रोच. पॉजिटिविस्ट वाले साइंटिफिक मेथड, केमिस्ट्री, बायोलॉजी, फिजिक्स वाला नेचुरल साइंस मेथड. नॉन पॉजिटिविस्ट वाले इंटरप्रिटेटिव मेथड, सब्जेक्टिव मेथड, सिंपल. और सोचो, आई मीन विदाउट इवन like getting into the details of the syllabus, you are understanding these words, technical words. I don't like when you'll be listening to a workshop on 3rd of July, which I'm planning to take. So that day I won't get into the details of the syllabus. Any student will be like, ma'am, can you give me a brief understanding of this? Just go back to 15 days back discussion. The video is available, the detailed understanding of the syllabus, because a person who's really curious whether I'm cut out for this discipline or not should invest at least 1 hour related to the suitability of the discipline. And those students who have joined in late, just to give you a brief insight about what I'm going to further discuss, I'll show you how sociology questions which are raised in sociology, topics which are taught in sociology, are also there in GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4, all the 4 papers. People generally think, oh, it's Indian society, social justice. No, not really. It's connected to economics, it's connected to ethics, it's connected to history, it's connected to polity. You'll be finding all that soon. Okay, let's go ahead. So when we are talking about sociology as a science, then definitely research methods and techniques will come. And when we are talking about research methods and techniques, all these words, what do they imply? You'll have to just give a brief understanding. Then we'll be discussing sociological thinkers, because we are not the researchers, we are civil services aspirants. So someone else will be doing the research, and their research establishes sociology as a science. When you will be reading about these thinkers, you know, it's so beautiful to know about such amazing human beings who have shaped our reality so very tremendously. To see the facts which unfold before all of us from multi-dimensional perspective. You know, sociology as a discipline, it enriches you as a human being. The best part is that it makes you a thinking individual who can see the same reality from multiple dimensions. A spherical view is what you develop. And you really love, you really nurture, you really joyously celebrate the very possibility of what unfolds before all of us in terms of the wholesomeness of nature, the wholesomeness of societies, the wholesomeness of individuals' behavior, everything. And you're like, wow, I'm able to understand people. I'm able to understand my immediate reality better. Sociology is catering to my journey to become a more matured and seasoned human being. I can understand things at with a clearer precision. इतनी सफाई से मुझे जिंदगी की समझ नहीं थी जितनी अब हो रही है इस डिसिप्लिन को पढ़कर. And I can assure you that just after, like I would say, couple of months only, 2-3 महीना बीते और आपको लगेगा यार मैं तो इतना जानता ही नहीं था सोसाइटी के बारे में कि हमारे आसपास इतना कुछ हो रहा है. एंड इमेजिन जिस सोसाइटी को आप गवर्न करने जा रहे हैं, यू वांट टू बी अ सिविल सर्वेंट. सो अ सिविल सर्वेंट इज सर्विंग whom? The society. So knowing the society makes you capable to govern it better. How awesome it is, right? So you will be like understanding this given possibility. अब देखो इसमें कितने ये जितने भी वर्ड्स जो दिख रहे हैं ना आपको कि कौन सा थिंकर कौन सी बात कर रहा है, इसमें सबसे खूबसूरत बात है, इफ एनीवन इज इनटू सेल्फ स्टडी, लेट मी शेयर, किसी भी थिंकर की एक ना ब्रीफ 1 पेज की बायोग्राफी पढ़ लेना. बायोग्राफी कभी नहीं पूछता है, दे नेवर एवर आस्क अबाउट द बायोग्राफी, बट दैट मेक्स यू अंडरस्टैंड द थिंकर एज अ पर्सन, who the human being is. It doesn't take much, it just takes 10 minutes, but you can visualize the person, who the person is and what the person had spoken. And that's why I want everyone should be able to know the human being, because I'll tell you, there are students who finish the syllabus 5 months, 6 months from wheresoever, self study or some other teacher, and after that suppose they get into prelims preparation, 2-4 महीने का break लग गया जो भी, and they get back to sociology and then they start getting confused. Social action कौन बोला, social fact कौन बोला, because you can see the word social fact is here, right? Social action is here, you can see the words, right? So बच्चे क्यों confuse करते हैं, because कौन बंदा क्यों बोलेगा वो term, वो logic ही नहीं पता रहता है. When you know human beings, their temperament, you know that this person Emile Durkheim has an objective approach. Relatively, the person is having a more we can say positivist or scientific approach. एंड वेबर इज हैविंग एन इंटरप्रिटेटिव अप्रोच. और जब आप ये वर्ड्स का मीनिंग समझेंगे आपको पता रहेगा कौन बंदा क्यों बोलेगा वो बात, कंफ्यूजन होगी ही नहीं. तो कभी भी किसी थिंकर को पढ़िएगा तो क्या स्टेप रखिएगा, फर्स्ट एक ब्रीफ बैकग्राउंड जान लीजिएगा, दैट्स नॉट गोइंग टू बी आस्क्ड. देन learn about the scientific methodology or the research methodology or the sociological perspective the individual uses. Okay, if you are noting it down it will be better, and if you're not noting it down, no problem. When you are doing the course with me, at that time I not only explain, I write it on the board, and every time I write it on the board, that's a basic rule in GS or optional, I say that if I am writing, that means it should not be missed, that means you should note it down. Okay, so after the brief background, you should know the sociological perspective or the research tool methodology of the thinker. Then you should know what is the subject matter that the person has spoken or discussed about. After the subject matter, you should know the criticism of the thinker, that what is the limitation or criticism of the concept that the thinker has spoken. And last but not the least, how is the thinker applicable in today's world? Means if Karl Marx is saying class struggle, how is it applicable for 21st century India or world? If Durkheim is talking about division of labor or suicide, how is it applicable to present world? Right? So similarly, all the thinkers, Max Weber is quite important for you even from GS paper 4 perspective. 2014 there was a question in GS paper 4 that was associated with Max Weber. Max Weber, why is he important? Because he is one of the first thinkers to talk about bureaucracy, and you can understand you have to be a bureaucrat, so he becomes a very important thinker. He is a thinker who's taught in public administration optional also and sociology optional also, and he will give you a lot of food for thought about who a bureaucrat is, what are the challenges, what are the limitations of bureaucracy, and how Weberian idea shaped the way for a post-Weberian thought. Means after Weber's death, how other thinkers developed a new thought which had its seed in Weber's idea. So you'll be like knowing a lot about them. Robert King Merton is one of the latest thinkers. He died in, I think, 2002 or so. So he is one of the latest thinkers. But, you know, he was not just a sociologist. He was so good with mathematics that he also won the Congress Award of America related to mathematics. It was popularly said that had Merton not only been associated with sociology, he would have, and had he been associated with mathematics, he would have got Nobel Prize. He was like that popular. Okay, so you will find a lot of researchers, a lot of thinkers having an interdisciplinary understanding. Like for example, if I say Talcott Parsons, he is the guy who also gave a lot of new ideas and insights related to DNA structuring, the structure of DNA. So the guy not only in sociology but also in biology. So you'll find, like for example, if you have interest in two disciplines and like, oh, maybe I am just like that. No, no, no. A lot of the thinkers, intellectuals also had a similar approach. So that's something which you'll really enjoy knowing about them. And Mead, a man built out of hardships. He lost his, like, parent, as in his father, quite young. He could not complete his PhD. Because of his sheer brilliance, intellectual brilliance, he became a professor. I mean, because of financial hardships, though he had enrolled into PhD, he could not complete it. He had to get back from Europe to US just to support his family. So human beings, real human beings, who with their intellectual journey nourished us and would be nourishing all the future generations. So that's how you will be knowing these human beings, thinkers who have shaped the world of sociology, how they have shaped our way of analyzing, reflecting, questioning, thinking, right? Okay. Then when we are talking about it, see, this is such an amazing topic, stratification and mobility. This is a topic which is also connected to GS, if you see that, right? So when I'm talking about stratification and mobility, you will find this topic in GS paper 2 as, sorry, in sociology paper 2 also and GS also. When I say stratification, see this equality, concept of equality, inequality, hierarchy, exclusion, poverty, deprivation, like, aha, ये तो GS में पढ़ना ही है. Yes, बिल्कुल. So this is something. In concept से related, कौन सा thinker क्या बोल रहा है? So you'll be like knowing the theory. You'll be also knowing the dimension of, see, this class, status group, gender, ethnicity, race, all these terms when we talk about it, right? So we all can reflect upon all these given possibilities also. And you can see that these terms are there in GS paper 1, Indian society. Social mobility, when we talk about open and closed systems. Open is class. A poor man can become a rich person. Subrato Roy of Sahara Group, he was just a chit fund dealer. He was selling the chit fund, and initially he was selling the raffle tickets and all that, and then he got into chit fund, and then, like, rest is history when you come to know about it. But from there he climbed up and he created one of the most, like, I would say, gigantic groups in India in the early 2000s. He was one of the richest people in India and very well connected. And when we talk about this possibility, we can see class as an open system. And then we see caste system, which is a closed system. Once you're born in a caste, you cannot change that status. It gets stuck as a title to an individual's identity, right? So we can think about that also. With respect to it, we also have terms like work and economic life. This is connected to, you can see, GS paper 2 and 3 also. If I say paper 3, gig economy, informal sector, that is something which gets associated. You see, formal and informal organization of work. Formal organization gets connected to bureaucracy. You can see topics like labor and society. What is slave or ancient society, feudal society, capitalist society, brief understanding. Who speaks what? And in the process, you will be understanding history from a new perspective, that which thinker is talking about what kind of society existed and what is our idea associated with it. A very brief idea, if I talk about, like, for example, capitalist society. So in this, I'll be talking about a lot of thinkers in which I'll be giving you an idea that how, when we talk about the idea of globalization being a 20th or 21st century concept, they said, no, if we speak of it from an exploitative perspective, capitalism started unfolding globalization as colonialism, imperialism. So I'll give you a lot of food for thought that you'll be like left thinking, aha, that's something which is reflective. Now we can also reflect upon, see, this politics and society. Then you can see religion and society. Now this politics and society, look at the keywords. GS paper 2. Power elite, bureaucracy, pressure groups, political party, nation, state, citizenship, democracy, civil society, ideology, words like protest, agitation, social movement, collective action. These all are different terms. You cannot mix social movement with protest. You cannot call, like, let's say, social movement as a revolution. Movement and revolution are different things. Once you have a basic understanding of these terms, you can very well understand. It will help you to understand like history also better, and it will help you to understand polity like better as well, right? So these terms, you can see that. Similarly, we have religion and society. At least I hope you can connect with monoism. You can understand that the words like sect, cult, all this is there in GS also. Secularization, religious revivalism, fundamentalism, all of this is in GS, right? Furthermore, we can see systems of kinship. In past few years, GS paper 1, if I talk of it, there have been a lot of questions related to terms pertaining to family, joint family, nuclear family, work from home and its impact on family. So a lot of it. Patriarchy, the term patriarchy has been asked, oh my god, so many number of times in essay as well. 250 marks essay. There are two essays, 125 mark each, and you will be finding that 125 mark each when we talk about it. This is how it works out. Contemporary trends, how to update it, I'll be sharing that as well. Social change, see this. Social change, this topic, development and dependency, totally connected to IR, international relations, when we talk about it. IR, yes. Development and dependency tries to understand the world from third world perspective, because majority of the history of, you must have heard that history is written from the winner's point of view, right? जीतने वाले के संदर्भ में ही इतिहास लिखा जाता है, right? तो फिर से इतिहास का पुनर्लेखन होता है. Again we see that there is rewriting of our present times and history, and that unfolds through this concept of dependency theory, which is given by none other than the third world country thinkers. When I say third world countries, you can think of Brazil, you can think of Venezuela, you can think of Latin American countries, you can think of thinkers from African areas, and other than African countries, you can also see the Asian countries. So these thinkers, they present a worldview which is different from what the first world country thinkers say. They will explain how exploitation is done by the first world countries of the third world countries, how they exercise banana republic. This term you will be hearing quite often in newspapers and magazines. So what is a banana republic and how it unfolds, all that will be taught in this given topic. Then comes paper 2 when we talk about it. पेपर 1 में थिंकर्स पढ़ेंगे तो पेपर 2 में कैसे नहीं पढ़ेंगे, राइट? तो ज्यादा नहीं, आपको बस थोड़े ही से थिंकर्स पढ़ने हैं. देखिए यहाँ आपको दिखेगा 3 थिंकर्स, है ना? तो ये सिर्फ 3 नहीं है, 5 है एक्चुअली. सोशल बैकग्राउंड और इंडियन नेशनलिज्म हिस्ट्री से भी कनेक्टेड होता है, और ये वाले जो थिंकर है AR देसाई, इनसे भी कनेक्ट होता है. मॉडर्नाइजेशन ऑफ इंडियन ट्रेडिशन, वाई सिंह, प्रोफेसर योगेंद्र सिंह ऑफ JNU, यहाँ पर लिखा नहीं है उनका नाम, लेकिन मॉडर्नाइजेशन ऑफ इंडियन ट्रेडिशन, इसके नाम से उनकी एक बुक है. ही हैज रिटन अ बुक रिलेटेड टू इट. पतली सी बुक, लेकिन क्या शानदार बुक. मतलब इट्स सो रिच, इट इज सो रिच. I mean, the kind of wisdom you attain after reading 5 to 7 pages of NCRT, 11th, 12th NCRT. I'm not talking about standard 8th or 10th NCRT. 11th, 12th NCRT, which leaves you thinking. A similar kind of wisdom gets created fiercely just by reading 1 page of Professor Weissing. Means 5 pages of NCRT equals to 1 page of Professor Weissing's book. So that's the richness of that book. Very thin, like this big, and it gives a lot of food for thought for essay as well. So anyway, other than Professor Weissing, I'll be also talking about Mackey Marriott and other thinkers, but primarily this. See this, now यहाँ से आपको दिखेगा पूरा GS, पूरा का पूरा GS. Will you complete the whole syllabus, Gaurav? The answer to this question is 95% of the syllabus would be taught by me. There will be 2 topics which Shayoni ma'am will be teaching. Shayoni is my junior. She is associated with Presidency College, Kolkata. So Shayoni is the one who will be taking in paper 1, she will be just taking this part, politics and society, and in paper 2 she will be taking social movements. Okay, you will really enjoy listening to her as well, because she also gives a lot of comparatives from cinema to literature to different schools of thought and ideology. A very well read woman, I must say. And you will be finding, so 2 topics will be taught by her, rest everything, means 95% of the syllabus will be taken by me. If you find her lectures compelling and really good, then you can always suggest, I can always give her more sessions as well, right? But she has been supporting me for more than 3 years now. So this will be her 4th year with me. So this is what. Now in paper 2 here, as I was showing you the syllabus, From here onwards, you will be seeing a detailed reflection of GS, means pura ka pura GS. You're like, oh my god, this is like this given possibility. On this channel, well, it's not a open YouTube lecture, Gaurav. It will be when the course starts, then you will be finding that yes, this is what she will be just taking like two like basic topics. This is what I'm sharing. But if you abhi syllabus mein discuss kar rahi hu, and I can sense that you joined the session little late. So beta, when you'll be seeing in paper 1, there are 10 topics. Out of 10, 1 she'll be taking. And in paper 2, there is section A with 3 topics, section B with 6 topics, and section C with 7 topics. So 6 plus 7, 13, 13 plus 3, if we are talking about it, 16. Out of 16 topics, 1. That's why I said 95% of the syllabus will be taken by me. I hope that's clear now. Now, so with respect to see this rural and agrarian social structure, and again you'll have a topic rural and agrarian transformation, which is there underneath in section C. You'll be finding that. This is connected completely with GS paper 3 agriculture. You can see that, right? Land tenure system, land reforms. You have got these questions in GS paper 3. Economy. See this. Caste system. You get a lot of questions on caste system. I mean, if I say in last 11 years, UPSC has asked questions pertaining to caste 4 times. 4 times. So, again another favorite topic. Tribals. In GS paper 1, tribals, if I talk about it in last 10 years, there have been 5 questions related to tribals. Okay. See, there's a limitation when these topics are taught by us even in GS class. Because I also take GS, Indian Society, Social Justice. Other teachers also take that. Whosoever is available whenever in whatever center. You know, there's always a limitation in GS sessions because मैक्सिमम कितने क्लास दे देंगे 8, 9, 10 और उसमें एक एक सब टॉपिक कवर होना इट्स वेरी टेडियस Sociology will help you if you see GS paper 1 Indian Society. I have shared that in the previous video also. Indian Society 2023, there were, if you notice the total marks that was asked, that was 110 marks out of 250 questions. Indian Society, almost half the paper was Indian Society. That's why that was a rare phenomenon. Like prior to that, it has been 70 to 75 marks in paper 1. In paper 2, it is associated with, when we are talking about the component of social issues, popularly as it is called, Indian Society, Social Justice. 2 papers are covered. In paper 2, you will be finding at least 45 to 50 marks question. Now, if you consolidate the two, if 75 and like let's say 45, low side if I take, then also it consolidates to 120 marks. And what happened last year, it was more than 150 marks. So all those students who feel history, geography, polity, history 80 marks, geography 80-85 marks, polity same 85 to 90 marks. But this area, social issues, the underdog, it is not visible in prelims. In prelims, maximum few schemes and policies will be asked. But in mains, it becomes a boss area. Essay 125 marks done. Okay. GS, when we are talking about it, if I only talk about social issues, if I delete sociology out of it, still paper 1, paper 2 clubbed together, it is 120 to 150 marks. Lecture कितने होते हैं? 8 से 10 बस. Topics कितने होते हैं? GS paper 1 11 topics, Indian Society 11 topics, GS paper 2 at least 8 topics. And just imagine 19 topics, number of sessions 8 to 10. A teacher cannot get into the in-depth analysis of these topics. Taking sociology makes you thorough with these concepts, thorough like really thorough, right? And in the class when I teach the sociology sessions, I tell what to write in GS and what not to write in GS. What goes as an exclusive content for sociology means in sociology you quote thinkers, but in GS you don't quote thinkers. Because the moment you quote thinkers, it becomes an answer based on expertise. So that is something which you need to understand, what ought to be done and what ought to be avoided, right? Okay, let's see. So when we are talking about this, tribals, then see this, social classes, middle class. Oh, UPSC loves middle class. If I talk about sociology also or GS also, GS 4 times questions on middle class have been asked. And when I talk about sociology, in this entire chapter, UPSC has 80% of the times asked about middle class only, not industrial class or agrarian class. So knowing the trend analysis always helps. And as I told you, every single time I'm discussing the chapter, I will be discussing the previous year questions. Again, systems of kinship. Again, current affairs, you can see. Like nowadays, live-in relationship is so much in, right? I will make a video on live-in relationships because there can be a potential question that can be asked in mains. And the content I'll be lifting will be associated with EPW, Economic and Political Weekly. We have a group of sociology students only who have voluntarily been a part of the group and who are interested to learn how to make notes from EPW. And those who are not writing prelims this year, they are still active and they are making the notes. Those who are writing the prelims, they have taken a brief pause. After the prelims, they'll again join the group, and again we'll start taking a bulk exercises, completing the sessions. So all this extra thing also happens in the, like we can say, sociology batch. Like a subgroup can be created, more work can be done. It's all about self-motivation, how far you want to run. I can always help a student, achieve the dream in an easier pursuit. The more you write, the better it is. Whether you join this course or not, whether you go ahead with any optional subject, but remember, selection is only based on writing. Do a lot of writing. Solve a lot of previous year questions. That gives you an insight how UPSC asks questions. And prepare your own footnotes, your own keynotes. Because what you write is a part of your memory. Don't think that, oh, the toppers notes which I get, I have shared on my public channel on Telegram, that is my name only, Sweta Singh UPSC. There you will find that I have shared Animesh Pradhan's notes also, like for public domain, paper 1, paper 2 notes. But there I have written this disclaimer, and any student who is my student, I always say that remember to see the topper's notes to get an idea how notes is prepared. But don't think this person's notes is my notes, because you always write the key pointers. The detail is known only to you. So when you read the detail and make your own key pointer notes, that is something which actually nourishes your journey. Maximum what you can do is you can see your topper's notes and you can compare and tally that what key points you have missed. So it can just do some quality enhancement, but that's not the original source for you. It should not be your original source, because if you think of it to be the original source, it will never cater to your success journey. Okay, that's a personal advice that I can give you. So topics again, religion and society, religious communities in India and all that. So you can just see it's so very GS like, isn't it? Again, you can see social change, visions of social change. So you have planning. So planning is taught in economy, right? Mixed economy. You can see, so economy is there. Constitution, law, social change, GS paper 2, polity, education and social change, GS paper 2, social justice. Then you can see rural agrarian transformation. So if I'm talking about like green revolution, GS paper 3, agriculture, right? Similarly, if I'm talking about programs of rural development, GS paper 3, agriculture, cooperatives, it is related to GS paper 3, economy also and social justice also, right? Community development program, poverty alleviation program, schemes, interventions meant for vulnerable sections. This is taught in GS paper 2, social justice. Again, we can see changes in mode of production in Indian agriculture, rural labor, bondage, migration, concerns of GS paper 3, agriculture, right? I hope all those students who are curious about the syllabus, कि sociology ले कि नहीं ले, मतलब सही होगा कि नहीं, मजा आएगा कि नहीं, अब ये देख रहा हो कि कितना रेलिवेंट है. पेपर 1, 2, 3, 4 कुछ ना कुछ हर एक से जुड़ रहा है, राइट? पूरा पेपर 2 सोशियोलॉजी एकदम भाए से जुड़ेगा. और पेपर 1 सोशियोलॉजी के 6 टॉपिक्स, 10 में से 10 में से 6 टॉपिक्स एकदम जुड़ेंगे. सबसे बड़ा मेरा यही प्रेशर होता है कि फर्स्ट 3 टॉपिक्स आर बेसिक, वेरी एलिमेंट्री, और अदर 4 टॉपिक्स. So will a child survive the first 4 topics? If once you do it, you just understand that, oh yes, this is something which is like, digging deep into my wholesome preparation and building my worldview. See this. So industrialization, urbanization, you can see that, right? Again, politics and society. Again, GS paper 2, polity. You can see majorly it gets connected to it. Social movements, when we talk about it, you can see there are like peasant movements when we talk about it. Naxalism, internal security, GS paper 3, right? Similarly, farmers movement, farmers protest, we saw that, right? So GS paper 2, you can connect with that. You can connect it with history also. pre-independence and post-independence history, movements get covered over here. When we talk about women's movement, backward classes movement, Dalit movement, and a lot of contemporary movements are also covered. Few of you might be curious, ये identity movement क्या होता है? तो आइडेंटिटी मूवमेंट जैसे वो कास्ट को भी लेकर हो सकता है, आइडेंटिटी असर्शन मूवमेंट्स जो है वो आपका कोई स्पिरिचुअल आइडियोलॉजी को भी लेकर हो सकता है, ठीक है. सो दैट इज व्हाट यू कैन कंसिडर. जैसे सत्य शोधक समाज आइडेंटिटी बेस्ड मूवमेंट हो जाएगा, ठीक है. यू विल बी फाइंड आर्य समाज मूवमेंट कैन ऑल्सो बी कनेक्टेड टू द पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ आइडेंटिटी बेस्ड मूवमेंट. ओके. So women's movement or we can consider caste based movement भी कभी कभी identity based movement से connect हो जाते हैं. LGBTQ movement एक identity based movement होगा, ठीक है. So all that we can connect. So this is highly connected to current. Population dynamics पूरा GS है ना, GS पेपर 1 में है, आपका Indian society में भी है, human geography से भी connect होगा, so you can connect with that. Again, you can see challenges of social transformation. This is the last topic in the syllabus. When I say challenges of social transformation, we can see so many topics are there pertaining to it, right? And all these topics are hardcore associated with general studies, whether it is illiteracy and disparities of education, social justice, ethnic conflict, communalism, religious revivalism, GS paper 1, Indian society, caste conflict. This is related to history like contemporary history, post-independence, as well as Indian society, violence against women, Indian society, poverty, deprivation and inequality, economy and Indian society, social justice, because poverty is there in paper 1, paper 2 and 3 also. Crisis of development, displacement, environmental problems, sustainability, GS paper 3 when you have the component of environment, the humane side of it is taught. Now comes the book list, right? या एक काम करें, बुक लिस्ट थोड़ी देर में बताते हैं आपको. पहले एक कंपैरेटिव देती हूँ क्वेश्चन पेपर का. देखो एकदम ध्यान से शांत मन से देखो. पहले इजी क्वेश्चन दूं क्या, क्योंकि ये थोड़ा टफ लगेगा फर्स्ट वाला, इसको लास्ट में करवाती हूँ. इसको देखो. एक्सप्लेन द डेफिनेशनल प्रॉब्लम्स कंसर्निंग द ट्राइबल कम्युनिटीज इन इंडिया. बहुत सीधा सपाट सा क्वेश्चन पूछा सोशियोलॉजी में कि ट्राइबल्स को डिफाइन करने में, आइडेंटिफाई करने में टफ क्या है. व्हाट इज टफ regarding identifying the tribals, who the tribals are. Same question asked in GS paper 1. Given the diversity among the tribal communities in India, in which specific contexts should they be considered as a single category? मतलब tribals में बहुत diversity है, तो define कैसे करोगे? और अगर define करेंगे हम, तभी हम when you define tribal as a single category, then only you can make interventions for them, policies for them, schemes for them. So despite having diverse communities, means Mundas, okay, huge in number, Santals, huge in number, millions. But when we talk about like some tribes which are PVTGs, okay, when we are talking about Jaravas, Ongs, Sentinelese, very isolated, very much less in number, like ranging between 150 to 700 on an average. So when we talk about the given possibility of tribal communities, we have to, like recently elections got conducted, Shompen tribals have cast their vote for the first time post independence. It is a matter of great pride when you see those images and you can see the mainstreaming of the tribal communities. So when we talk about the tribals, so much of diversity is there. We have people belonging to the Meena community from Rajasthan who are majorly into bureaucracy. I mean, any and every Meena that you know will be talking about some relative who is a part of the bureaucracy. So when we talk about tribals, one is in the heartland, completely isolated, one is in the mainstream, into mainstream jobs, knowing mainstream languages. So there is so much of diversity in tribals. So how to define them, who they are? What are the core characteristics when there is so much of difference, so much of contrast in the identity? The question of GS, right? That means when we cannot get them as a single category, there will be a definitional problem. So the same question of sociology asked in GS in a more complex language. A sociology student won't find it tough. But GS वालों की बैंड बजने लगती है, बोला क्या, अब करे क्या, छोड़ दे क्या, ये फीलिंग आने लगती है. So when I take the component of sociology, when I'm discussing previous year questions, because I have more time in hand, unlike GS. So every time I'm taking a sociology topic, and if it is connected to GS, because I teach essay also, Indian society, social justice, ethics. So I have a comprehensive grip over which year what question was asked. So I immediately, as I'm discussing sociology PYQ, I also give a hint, oh, this idea was also asked in GS paper so and so. So that is how the wholesome preparation gets created for a student who is interested in sociology, not only for sociology but also GS, and which any past student who has been regular, who has completed the syllabus with me, will be claiming that. Yes, during teaching the component of sociology, ma'am keeps giving references. Oh, GS में ऐसे पूछा है, या ऐसे पूछ सकता है. So both preparing you for the future questions and also giving you a glimpse of how the questions have been raised in the past. Okay. Now, along with this, see this one. This is paper 2 question. So paper 2 means sociology nahi, GS ka paper 2. Here, see this. In sociology, they asked in paper 1, how is civil society useful in deepening the roots of democracy? Fine. And this question which was asked in 2023 sociology, it is taught in general. इससे मिलता जुलता एक और question भी आया था, but I just gave you a contemporary question. And then see this 2021 GS2. Can civil society and NGOs present an alternative model of public service delivery to benefit the common citizen? Discuss the challenges of this alternative model. Right? So when we talk about the given possibility, how is civil society useful? So how is civil society useful? You'll be talking about the strengths of the civil society and the limitations of the civil society. Right? And in the process, what objectives, purposes it is fulfilling, and what are the limitations? All of it is explained in great detail. So you can see this, right? Simultaneously, you can see this one again. This specific question, GS paper 3 and sociology paper 2. Since discuss the main features of land reforms in post-independence India. A simple, straightforward question in optional. More twisted in GS, you will be finding how did land reforms in some part of the country help to improve the socio-economic conditions of marginal and small farmers. So main features of land reforms means what were the steps taken, what were the objectives that were kept. And when you are reflecting, when you are teaching that in the class, you are not only talking about the main features, you talk about limitations, challenges, what was not taken care of, and what are the suggestions for the future. And when you give such a in-depth, exhaustive grip, you get prepared for GS as well. So I hope you are getting an idea. Similarly, so you have seen GS paper 1, 2, 3, now see this 4. This is because I thought, let me give one related to thinker also, so that you don't find that thinkers are very tough. You saw sociological thinkers, 6 of them. So here, see this. So this is the perspective of Emile Durkheim. Durkheim says, the major function of education is the transmission of society's norms and values. Okay, I think you want to read the question once again because it's a thinker, so language is bit exhaustive. So you can see this. The major function of education, major purpose, objective of education is the transmission, of society's norms and values. Discuss, right? 20 marker question, 300 words you had to write. Now see this, what is asked in GS, 150 words. Durkheim is not given. NEP, New National Education Policy 2020 is also taught in sociology. Why? Because it gets connected to 2 topics. Remember in sociology, paper 1 we had education and social change. And in paper 2, last chapter, social transformation, we had illiteracy and disparities of education. Right? So illiteracy and disparities of education, when that is taught, everything related to education is briefed by me. My notes related to GS along with sociology, all of it is given. Means anything and everything that is on education, a student should have it from my side. So new national education policy is taught in great depth in that chapter, right? And that new national education policy which is taught in sociology paper 2, along with how education transmits society's values and norms clubbed together, see the insight getting covered here. Education is not an injunction. It is an effective and pervasive tool for all-round development of an individual and social transformation. So, education is not only something which is giving you a job or all-round development, but it is also leading to the transformation of an individual and society. So, explain the new education policy in the light of the above statement. What is there in GS paper 4 in the syllabus? It is inculcation of values by family, educational institutions and society. Okay, so that's there in the syllabus. It's a wholesome understanding of it gets covered with the help of this given area when we speak of it. All right. I hope everyone is getting an idea. अब दिखाते हैं, ये थोड़ा easy थोड़ा direct question था, इसलिए मैंने discuss किया. First one मैंने इसीलिए छोड़ा कि भाई थोड़ा tough हो जाएगा शुरुआत में, just after the syllabus giving you a very thought provoking question. So now you can understand, I believe. See this. So this was the question asked in Sociology paper 2. Are tradition and modernity antithetical to each other? Antithetical, contradictory to each other. So are tradition and modernity antithetical to each other? अब देखो इस क्वेश्चन का हम लोग किस तरीके से यहां पर इलैबोरेशन पाते हैं. Are we losing our local identity? So when I say local identity, that will be connected to tradition. For global identity, this will get connected to modernity. Okay. Similarly, when we are talking about this given dimension, a similar insight is raised not only in this 2019 question, but just see first 18 and then we'll get back to 2020 GS. All this is paper 1 question. Same question asked twice. Globalization is generally said to promote cultural homogenization. How will cultural homogenization get connected? When you get one common global identity. So, modernity gets connected to global identity. Global identity is nothing but cultural homogenization. What is cultural specificities? So, cultural specificities is diverse local cultures. In simple language, diverse local cultures. And what is this diverse local cultures? This is local identity. What is local identity? Tradition in India, which is quite diverse. Culture in India, which is quite diverse. So, you can see that. Again, is diversity and pluralism in India under threat due to globalization? So, why will diversity and pluralism be under threat? Because diversity and pluralism, when we talk about this, so diversity and pluralism, they both will be under threat when we talk about this. Because of what? Because of cultural homogenization or because of common global identity. When modernity unfolds itself, it also creates a lot of homogenization. Common ideas, common views, common laws, common thought process, common ideology. So all that. When you read this topic, modernization of Indian tradition, Professor Y. Singh, I told, Yogendra Singh from JNU, he is there in your syllabus, not directly with the name, but as the topic, modernization of Indian tradition. And the topic is taught, I also give or rather bring in the insights of other parallel thinkers like I said, Mare Marriott and all. So when I'll be substantiating, it will feed the insight related to GS questions as well. So GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4. I built the insight. It is going to help you in the journey of all. See, many people say, oh, Anthro is very interesting as an optional. Yes, it is. It has a very short syllabus. Yes. लेकिन कितना short? Anthro वाला 70 दिन में syllabus complete करेगा. Sociology वाला 90 दिन में. 20 extra days, right? But Anthro का except tribals कुछ नहीं जोड़ता है syllabus से. Sociology, GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4, essay and interview. Because in interview, the board is interested to know your insights pertaining to the society. Are you aware of the society you are about to serve? Do you know your Indian society, the communities living in it, the diversities prevailing in it, the possible potential challenges, frictions that you may witness as a bureaucrat? In a hypothetical scenario, a case study, the examiner can ask you that how would you solve that problem? So all that is also asked, right? So I hope all of you are getting an idea related to the same, like how this GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4 is connected to sociology syllabus. Any student who has joined in between, I just discussed the detailed analysis of sociology syllabus and then I connected with couple of previous year questions. I wish I could go in depth with GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4 and how many chapters, how many questions have been covered. But I think that is possible only when you are at a certain stage of preparation. Like let's say you have prepared the UPSC syllabus at least like 1/3. Then you'll really enjoy. You'll be like, oh wow, गजब मजा ही आ रहा है. तो वो कब होगा? 1/3 GS complete होगा, तब तक 1/3 sociology complete होगा. And then when I'm giving this in the class, you will really enjoy it. Right now it will overwhelm you. So much of information can really overwhelm you. ज़्यादा हो रहा है पचाने के लिए. So that's also there. In 2016, there is same question from society. Yes. So that's why I'm saying that a lot of questions. It's not just 16. Every single year, like at least from paper 1, at least 7 questions, because I'm talking about history also along with Indian society. At least 7 questions can get very well prepared from the preparation of sociology as an optional. Similarly, in paper 2, at least 5 questions. In paper 3, at least 3 questions. In paper 4, at least 2 questions. That's the like trajectory. In essay, 1 essay. An interview, couple of questions. So just imagine, it's not just sociology optional as in 500 marks at stake. It nourishes GS also simultaneously. All optionals are good. All optionals are relevant. I always say that. Any optional, even if you take Kannada literature, even if you take like Udiya literature, Hindi literature, Urdu literature, every optional is scoring. You take mathematics, you take commerce. और हर ऑप्शनल से फेल करने वाले लोग भी होते हैं, भर भर के फेल भी करते हैं, भर भर के पास भी होते हैं. फर्क सिर्फ ये है कि आपको उस ऑप्शनल की कितनी खूबसूरती दिखती है, मजा आया कि नहीं पढ़ के, लगा ये कि अरे वाह स्वाद आ गया पढ़ के यार, बिल्कुल मतलब पर्सपेक्टिव ही चेंज हो गया और बहुत अच्छे से समझ में आ रहा है कि सोसाइटी में क्या चल रहा है. And now I can think like not as a child or the journalist is doing the hand holding, parents or teachers are only doing the hand holding. Now I can have my own opinion about what's happening and how is it happening. That's the beauty of this discipline. That it makes you intellectually strong and independent in the long run. Okay. Now, I told you I'll discuss the like book. अगर मान लो किसी को खुद से प्रिपेयर करना है तो कैसे बुक्स पढ़ लेनी चाहिए, ठीक है. ये तो एक बेसिक बुक है, मैं बता दे रही हूँ, नितिन सांगवान की एसेंशियल सोशियोलॉजी. इट्स लाइक इट्स मोर लाइक आई विल से, अगर कोई बच्चा सोच रहा है एनसीईआरटी पढ़ लूँ क्या 11th 12th, तो बच्चे 11th 12th में जो है ना वो नितिन सांगवान में कवर हो जाएगा. सो रादर देन एनसीईआरटी यू कैन स्ट्रेट अवे रीड दिस बुक. इट्स मोर लाइक हाउ टू से स्पेक्ट्रम फॉर हिस्ट्री. GS history, people read Spectrum, or M. Lakshmikant for polity. So you don't get in GS paper 2, you don't get a single question from M. Lakshmikant. Then you're like, then why am I reading Lakshmikant? Because Lakshmikant fixes the base, just gives you an overview about the syllabus. Questions are more contemporary, theoretical, analytical in polity. Those students who will grow matured with preparation, 1 or 2 years, you'll get this idea. Oh, Lakshmikant is just giving me a brief prelude. So it's like the stepping stone. Same as with Nitin Sangwan. इसके साथ सिलेक्शन नहीं होगा, बट हर चैप्टर का एक थोड़ा 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 आपको एक प्रिल्यूड दे देगा. सबसे जबरदस्त मटेरियल क्या होता है? इग्नू. इग्नू इज वेरी डिटेल्ड, बट इग्नू इज, आई वुड से, इट इज डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम द हॉर्सेस माउथ. हु इज मेकिंग योर क्वेश्चन पेपर? Senior professors of universities, and these senior professors of central universities are the one who contribute in the content making of IGNOU, and they know that the student is not in front of us, so we have to be as detailed as possible, as much reflection and reference work as possible. So IGNOU is a bit detailed. That's the only like delimitation for an aspirant, but it's the most authentic source, very good source. So IGNOU में सारा नहीं पढ़ना होता है. As I keep like completing chapters, I keep like consolidating. अच्छा, notes मुझे आपको मेरा 2 टाइप का मिलेगा. एक you will get in the form of a handout, मतलब वो हो गया क्लास का नोट्स, एंड सेकेंड इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अ बुकलेट. मतलब एक बुकलेट नहीं, देयर आर 4 बुकलेट्स. सो द बुकलेट्स आर बेसिकली लाइक रेफरेंस मटेरियल पिक्ड फ्रॉम ऑल डिफरेंट बुक्स. सपोज आई एम सेइंग मुझे चाहिए रिट्जर से आप मार्क्स पढ़ लो, वेबर पढ़ लो, तो मैंने रिट्जर के ही पैराज में से पिक करवा के मार्क्स और वेबर के एरियाज टाइप करवाए हैं. सपोज मुझे चाहिए एब्राहम एंड मॉर्गन से आप थोड़ा सा मर्टन के बारे में पर्सपेक्टिव ले लो, तो मैंने एब्राहम एंड मॉर्गन से ही उठवा के आपके लिए मर्टन का थोड़ा सा पर्सपेक्टिव करवाया है, ठीक है. सपोज इन द सेम जर्नी, सपोज इफ आई वांट कि जो मेरा स्टूडेंट है वो थोड़ा सा टीबी बॉटमोर पढ़ ले. चैप्टर 1 बहुत अच्छा दिया हुआ है टीबी बॉटमोर में, चैप्टर 2 के भी कुछ टॉपिक्स अच्छे दिए हुए हैं बॉटमोर में, ठीक है. तो मैंने बॉटमोर से पैराज उठा के, अगर मैंने यहाँ नहीं भी लिखा क्योंकि बहुत मैं इसको डिटेल्ड नहीं करना चाहती थी, I didn't want to overwhelm you with the book list. So TB Baltimore से भी मैंने उठाकर I have given you the like typed paras. So booklet is what? Booklet is like if a child is not purchasing books, the gist of good books related to whichever chapter, it is essential. That has been consolidated in the form of books or other booklets. Okay, so class notes or handouts are there, जो भी उसको आप बोले class note या handout. So that is there to support you directly. क्लास में जो पढ़ा रहे वही हैंडआउट में. सिंप्लीफाइड क्लास है, क्लास से ऊपर है हैंडआउट विच इज मोर इन अ फॉर्मल लैंग्वेज, उसके ऊपर बुकलेट्स है. बुकलेट्स आर नथिंग बट वी कैन से एन एडिटेड वर्जन ऑफ दीज बुक्स. हार्लम्बस एंड हॉलबॉर्न जीएस सॉरी सोशियोलॉजी पेपर 1 का एकदम बेस गेम चेंजर. 10 टॉपिक्स में से 6 टॉपिक्स डायरेक्टली आपको इससे aid and assistance मिल जाएगा. Whether it is social stratification, whether it is politics and society, whether it is family, marriage, kinship, sociological perspectives. It's very good. Okay. So what I do is sometimes I give the soft copy of these books or chapters in our Telegram group. Yes, we have a Telegram channel. So I keep posting a lot of reference material over there so that any student who's a beginner has access to all the content. And in between, when the lectures are also going on, if I'm reading any news article, and it's a two-way process, I encourage students also, if you are reading something new related to sociology, you can share it there. So we both keep posting and we both nourish the process of learning. Okay, so that's how. And if a student is having a sociological inquiry whereby the child wants everyone should participate, the child can write in the group that I'm curious about this. It's not a good morning, good evening group. I do not encourage such messages, or a group where informal jokes etc. can be posted. No, never. But yes, I encourage all kinds of sociological inquiry, whether you're watching a movie, reading a book, you're like watching a docu-series, anything which you feel of sociological importance, you can give your thoughts about it, you can share about it, you can post a link about it, all of it. It's yours. It is your group for that intellectual inquiry pertaining to sociology. For paper 2 also I have given a list of books. Those who are curious and they want to do like some self-preparation, here is the list. Okay, so you can just have a brief look at the list. That's why I went very slow in terms of sliding the same. Last but not the least, over here I have also prepared the key reflections associated with the program that we would be starting. Those students who are curious, giving a brief understanding, there'll be about 90 sessions. When I say 90, some students are like, will it be exact 90? No, not really. In 2021, a COVID batch, the students were relatively very sharp, those whom I had taught. So like the batch got over by 86 sessions. Sometimes it takes like 91 sessions. Last batch took 95 sessions, and I'm perfectly fine with it because I'm like, it's all about your reception. If you need more sessions for discussion, I'm always up for it. Initially in July when I start, I'll go a little slow because it will be a fresh batch and students are not oriented to the discipline. I told you 80 to 90% are from non-humanities background, engineers and doctors and commerce students. So I go pretty easy in the first initial sessions, and as I would say 10-15 sessions are passed, then I start taking 5 sessions per week. So 5 sessions per week, 90 sessions with Dashera or Diwali or 2nd October holiday, it can stretch up to 15th of December or so. Okay, but number of sessions that are taught is about 90. Batch timing is 1 to 3:30. 3:30 is not compulsory. Sometimes I stretch up by 10-15 minutes. You should be open for it. Reference material, I told you, handouts for each chapter. Okay, to save ourselves from detailed dictations and to have more time on analysis, reflection, PYQ discussion, so that you have more learning caliber when you are listening to the session, discussing with me, and let it not be a monologue. Keep asking, keep raising your inquiries, keep sharing what you have read. That will be amazing. If you feel little hesitant to do so in the class, you can always write a personal message to me. So I'll always if you don't want me to take the name in the class, I'll respect that also. Without taking your name, I can share your insight in the class. So howsoever you want to bloom and unfold in the class, that intellectual liberty shall be there with you. Supplementary booklets, I told you. Telegram group also, I told you. That's for academic reference. Again, I also encourage and explain it to the students how to blend the insights of Economic and Political Weekly or Yojana or Kurukshetra or some leading newspaper daily in the sociology notes and material. Especially certain topics of paper 1, more so ever paper 2. Paper 2, 70% needs constant reflection in terms of what's unfolding in the present scenario. Like hashtag Me Too movement happened, immediately a question was asked. LGBTQ judgment had come from the Supreme Court in 2018, a question was asked. So sociology wants you, the discipline, this optional wants you to be connected to current affairs, which is there in GS. So it keeps you alert, curious and ticking. And that was the topic of today's lecture, right? For curious aspirants, right? So that is what sociology creates for you. Last but not the least, regular doubt clearing sessions. When I say so, not only in the class, suppose you are stuck and you want to talk to me over the call, we can always fix a time when, like, my other GS classes are not going on, and we can discuss over the phone whatever your doubts are. There are times when students, like for example, few of my old students who are appearing for the interview this year. So suppose I'm taking a class and I'm not having a time, but the child wants to ask a lot of questions. And I know that I have to give in bits and pieces, and at night I'll make a detailed call and explain. So the child keeps sending, like let's say, or the students, they kept like sending the questions, ma'am, to this question. In the mock interview, I was asked, how would I handle this one? Or for this question, what should be the ideal answer? So what I do is, I make audio messages and I record those messages and I just send it for the student to listen. And if there are any doubt, then again the child sends that. And through audio message, we keep exchanging what can be there throughout the day, You see, the moment you are once my student, you are always my student. Whether your preparation journey is of 2 years, 4 years, sometimes in very few cases it has been 8 or 9 years also, because those students had some personal life issue, dissociated from preparation. After 3-4 years, again had the courage, conviction, the finances to support, got back to the preparation, and I fought with them. Because along with your parents, like I, as your teacher, would be responsible morally and intellectually towards your preparation and your journey. And I never judge a student why the child took more time, because everyone has a unique journey. And anyone who is in this journey really understands that sometimes it can be a tedious one. Suppose a child is clearing mains, getting into interview, not making it. So will not quit the preparation, right? So next year, suppose gets there. Again in the interview, the person gets marks which is less, so is in allied services and wants to prepare again. So there can be variety of students. There's a lot of diversity in preparation and each one has a unique journey. So all the like all the, we can say, emotional motivation, hand holding, intellectual hand holding, all that is required. I'm always there for my student, and that's why I always say that once a student, always a student. And you'll find that old batch students, 2015 batch, 16 batch, we are still connected, My oldest batch is 2013, which is having a WhatsApp group, and it is yet not dismantled. I mean, because no one is talking. Once in a while, we just wish each other, but because all of them are settled in life. But all I'm saying is, no one had the desire to quit from the group. Like, ठीक है, वैसे. तो just sharing this. ये मत सोचना कि the batch starts और फिर batch मतलब एक बार हो गया 5 महीने तो बस मैम अपने रास्ते, हम अपने रास्ते. ऐसा नहीं. आप पढ़ रहे हो, मैं आपके साथ खड़ी हूँ. सिंपल. ठीक है. तो यही सारी चीजें, पर्सनल मेंटोरिंग मैंने आपको बता ही दिया. हाँ, रेगुलर टेस्ट आंसर राइटिंग, ये चीज जरूर करना. I always encourage students. Your answers, if you are writing in personal capacity, they shall get evaluated. With respect to tests, I give you first like chapter wise, like 2 chapter, 1 chapter, जैसा आपका पेस रहा उस हिसाब से टेस्ट क्राफ्ट कर करके I give the test. I also give the tentative reference material to the question. Like the question, what could have got incorporated as the answer for that question. Okay, so get the reference material as well as your evaluated copy, both. Fine. So this is what I create. If there are any other questions, now you can raise all your personal doubts. क्योंकि अब victory दिखना चाहिए, right ना? So I've just placed victory and your personal doubts. Yes. Any questions, any doubts that you have, you can just ask me. I'm there for you. Yes, people? Anything? All the students who have been listening to me attentively, thank you so much. Cost benefit analysis of philosophy optional. Oh, Chitransh, you have asked giving a cost benefit analysis of philosophy optional. Why should I do philosophy optional cost benefit analysis? I don't teach philosophy optional. So that will be unjust to, like, get into anyone else's domain, right? So Okay. All right. So, Rumaisa, if you are there still, and do you have any specific doubts related to sociology and psychology? I tried to simplify the journey while discussing the syllabus, but still, if there is any doubt, you can ask. Hello, Rishabh. Welcome. Any student having any doubt, you can just ask. So, any other questions, anything associated with sociology that you want to ask? Any student who has been BK Nangla book is important. Yes, BK Nangla is good, especially for paper 2. You get a comprehensive understanding of Indian society. नांगला को आप पढ़ सकते हैं, उसमें आपको इंडियन सोशियोलॉजिकल थॉट, कुछ आइडियाज आपको कास्ट सिस्टम का उसमें अच्छा मिलेगा. नांगला की सॉफ्ट कॉपी मैं शेयर भी करती हूँ. आई शेयर द सॉफ्ट कॉपी इन द टेलीग्राम चैनल so that and I like any student who wants to do some reference work can do so from there. In the previous batch I had posted. I also share the sociology dictionaries, Penguin वाली भी, Oxford वाली भी, because if a student is stuck with a sociological term और उसको लग रहा है यार इसका meaning क्या है समझ ही भी नहीं आ रहा और regular dictionary में मिलेगी नहीं, तो उसको आप वहाँ देख सकते हैं. How to cover sociology optional? Rishabh, I think you have joined the session little late, beta. I have discussed the wholesome syllabus of sociology. So you can get introduced to it. You can watch this session little later also. And to begin with, you can start with Essential by like Nitin Sangwan. So you can just get introduced to the topics by Nitin Sangwan, Essential Sociology. It's not the book which will give you selection, but it will introduce the topics briefly to you. When will the session start? The session will start on 16th of July. 16th of July. Because by that time we'll be through with a lot of GS courses, because I have to get engaged with all that also. So like 30th of June, first week of July, we'll be kind of through with that. So sociology and majority of the optionals, it's like that. How to cover sociology current affairs? I am there for it. I am there for it. So because I keep like posting a lot of information related to it. I was sharing this, Rishabh, just a couple of minutes back that related to this sociology current affairs for EPW, which is the most exhaustive academic text, because newspaper तो GS वाले भी कर देते हैं जो current का करते हैं, है ना. उससे बच्चे को जो सिलेबस मेरे से पढ़ रहा है और डिटेल्ड प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन के साथ, करंट के साथ, बिकॉज आई टीच जीएस आल्सो, सो इट बिकम्स वेरी इजी. जीएस की क्लास में करंट पढ़ ही रहे, करवा ही रहे, तो जब ऑप्शनल पढ़ा रहे हैं तो उसको भी साथ में ऐड करके मैंने जीएस के अपने लेक्चर स्लाइड्स भी शेयर किए हुए. कैन यू बीट इट व्हेन इट कम्स टू सपोर्टिंग द कंटेंट. लेकिन ईपीडब्ल्यू जैसा एग्जॉस्टिव मैगजीन का एक्सक्लूसिव ग्रुप बनाकर लास्ट ईयर, मतलब टिल दिस ईयर प्रीलिम्स के थोड़ा सा पहले तक, मतलब टिल जैन हम लोगों ने उसका नोट्स बनाया. अभी जो बच्चे नहीं प्रीलिम्स लिख रहे हैं उनके साथ कर रहे हैं, बट इट्स अ क्लोज्ड ग्रुप. आई डोंट शेयर द कंटेंट टू द लार्जर वर्ल्ड सो फार. ओके, सो हाउ टू कवर करंट अफेयर्स, मैं हूँ उसके लिए, मैंने बता दिया आपको. और because we are in Cole. Oh, this will be an online session, Swayam Sudha. Okay, this will be an online session, so you don't need to worry about that. It will be telecasted live, as well as the session will be available like in a recorded mode. So suppose if someone has missed out the like live session, the person can also attend the telecasted session. Which is the best source for practicing the question? Pragya, the previous year question paper is the best source. 30-year question paper. I share the question paper, the soft copy of this question paper. I share two types of question paper. One, the 10-year analysis, because most of the students first want to practice the last 10-year questions. So first I give the last 10-year question paper, and after that I share this 30-year question paper also. 1991 से लेके 2021 का एक क्वेश्चन पेपर है, चैप्टर वाइज, टॉपिक वाइज लाइक उसका है एनालिसिस, वो भी शेयर करती हूँ, और 10 ईयर वाला भी. ठीक है, सो बोथ इज शेयर्ड विद द स्टूडेंट्स इन द ग्रुप, एंड एवरी टाइम आई कंप्लीट अ चैप्टर, आई ओपन फर्स्ट द क्वेश्चन पेपर, deal the question paper, then move to the next chapter. All right, so okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Webhav. I'm glad to know that you have covered the sociology like portion. हाँ ऋषभ, अगर आप दे रहे हैं 2026 में अटेम्प्ट, तो मैं आपको एडवाइस करूंगी कि इस 2024 में, जैसे मान लीजिए इस साल अगर आप ऑप्शनल कंप्लीट करते हैं दिसंबर तक और आपको 26 में देना है, तो जनवरी से लेके मई तक आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस एकदम रगड़ कर करिएगा, ठीक है। उसके बाद फिर क्या करेंगे आप, जुलाई से लेके दिसंबर तक नेक्स्ट ईयर उसका सिर्फ थोड़ा थोड़ा करंट से अपडेट करिएगा और उसको रिवाइज अच्छे से कर लीजिएगा, बिकॉज यू विल रियलाइज दैट ऑन एन एवरेज स्टूडेंट्स टेक time to develop an in-depth wholesome understanding of optional. So when it comes to like, जैसे अभी देखो जिसको नेक्स्ट ईयर देना है उसको चैप्टर भी पढ़ना है, उसको पीवाईक्यू के लिए भी टाइम निकालना होगा, उसको करंट भी अपडेट करना होगा, उसके लिए बहुत एग्जॉस्टिव एक्सरसाइज होगा। सो एंड जो सोशियोलॉजी का सिलेबस है अगर आप देखोगे तो यू विल फाइंड दैट 60 to 70% ऑफ इट इज थियोरेटिकल स्टैटिक पोर्शन विच डज नॉट चेंज। क्वेश्चन पूछने का तरीका हम लोग उसको अप्लाइड बना देते हैं, कार्ल मार्क्स वही है, ठीक है, कार्ल मार्क्स वही है, उनके जो आइडियाज है वो वही है, लेकिन उसको हम थोड़ा करंट से कनेक्ट करते हैं। ये कार्ल मार्क्स का आइडिया पोस्ट इंडस्ट्रियल सोसाइटी में कैसे रेलेवेंट है, जहां लेबर क्लास का इंपॉर्टेंस घट रहा है, तो वैसे क्वेश्चंस को कैसे हैंडल करना है वो क्लास में भी बताती हूँ, और उससे रिलेटेड यू हैव एनफ टाइम टू थिंक वंस यू नो हु कार्ल मार्क्स इज, सो दैट्स हाउ यू कैन गो अहेड। Necessary for sociology optional? Well, Chetna, because you are asking about a senior and he is way senior to me, the only thing which I'll say, जैसे उनका चैप्टर 1 देखिएगा, चैप्टर 1 का नोट्स आपको ऑनलाइन टेलीग्राम इधर उधर मिल जाएगा, तो आप रियलाइज करेंगे, बिकॉज सर इज एन एकेडमिशियन एंड विद ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट, बिकॉज लाइक यू नो he has been I would say one of the most remarkable professors related to this, but the only thing is that being a university professor, his approach is not very competition oriented. You can see that with respect to previous year question discussion, first. Second, you can see that with respect to current affairs updates, paper 2 majorly missing. And third, you can also see, जैसे chapter 1 देखना, chapter 1 में जो intellectual we can say antecedents हैं और I can say post Renaissance period of enlightenment के thinkers हैं, भर के उन्होंने 20 पेज नोट्स लिखा है, और मैंने कहा विद ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट, बिकॉज यूनिवर्सिटी में हम लोग वैसे ही पढ़ाते हैं, लेकिन यहाँ हम लोगों को देखना होता है ट्रेंड क्या है, 30 साल में कैसे क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं। इन 30 years नॉट इवन वंस क्वेश्चन हैज बीन आस्क्ड लाइक दैट। प्लेटो पे एक पूरा राइट अप, इमैनुअल कांट पे, हॉब्स पे, वो सब पेपर 4 में काम आ जाएगा, जीएस पेपर 4 में, नॉट नीडेड फॉर सोशियोलॉजी। तो बस यही है, वो हमेशा एक यूपीएससी ओरिएंटेड अप्रोच इज समथिंग विच इज कॉन्स्टेंटली नीडेड फॉर अ स्टूडेंट. Also, how to make a gist, how to prepare notes, that's also something which we teachers need to encourage a student to learn. मैं लेट तो नहीं हुआ प्रिपरेशन के लिए? अरे भाई लेट नहीं हो, तुम एकदम सही हो, एकदम सही टाइम पे शुरू कर रहे हो। सिस्टमैटिकली फेज बेस्ड एग्जॉस्टिव तरीके से अपना बेस और थियरी बना के उस पर एप्लीकेशन वाला डायमेंशन वर्कआउट कर सकते हो। सो यू हैव स्टार्टेड एकदम इन द नीश ऑफ द टाइम। अरे अरे नहीं भाई, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है नैना। let us respect each of us with the intellectual insight that and aspiration we want to create for each and every student. In the end of the day, we all are there to nourish you. Okay? और कोई क्वेश्चन है बच्चों? How to sociology connect with current affairs? महेंद्र, प्लीज आप पूरा सेशन सुनिएगा, मैंने चैप्टर बाय चैप्टर, टॉपिक बाय टॉपिक बताया है कि जीएस के किस पोर्शन से सोशियोलॉजी का कौन सा चैप्टर कनेक्ट हो रहा है, ठीक है। सो प्लीज लिसन टू द सेशन, द क्वेश्चन दैट यू हैव रेज्ड, you will be able to get an answer associated with the same. So how to maintain sociology optional with GS, please can you suggest if possible here? वैभव, इफ यू वांट एन इनसाइट, तो जैसे मान लीजिए मैं आपको एक बात बताऊंगी, ईपीडब्ल्यू कभी मत छोड़िएगा। ईपीडब्ल्यू का सब आर्टिकल नहीं चाहिए होता है, क्योंकि इट्स इकोनॉमिक एंड पॉलिटिकल वीकली, so a lot of topics will be associated with exclusive to GS paper 3 economy और very in depth research of economic topic, political topic। जैसे मई 18 के बाद कौन सा आया था, 25 मई का जो इकोनॉमिक एंड पॉलिटिकल वीकली आया ना, सोशियोलॉजी के पर्सपेक्टिव मुझे एक भी टॉपिक इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं लगा, बट इकोनॉमी भर के आर्टिकल्स थे। पेपर 3 के लिए बहुत सारा रॉ मटेरियल था, बट सोशियोलॉजी के लिए नहीं था। तो वो इंसाइट मैं ईपीडब्ल्यू दर ईपीडब्ल्यू बताते जाती हूँ कि इसमें ये 4 आर्टिकल इंपॉर्टेंट है, इसके ये 5 आर्टिकल इंपॉर्टेंट है, सोशियोलॉजी में ये जाएगा, जीएस में ये जाएगा। एक बार बच्चा जब स्किल सीख लेता ना, अरे हाँ सिलेबस ये, जिसको सिलेबस याद रहेगा वो टैली कर लेगा कि हाँ सिलेबस में ये है, सोशियोलॉजी में ये, जीएस में है, और ये टॉपिक ऐसे करके मर्ज करेगा। फिर जो आर्टिकल है उसे नोट्स कैसे बनाते हैं, हाउ टू प्रिपेयर नोट्स फ्रॉम द आर्टिकल, दैट इज समथिंग विच आई ट्रेन द स्टूडेंट्स. If you want, I can create a separate session for that how to make notes from EPW article. I can share that with all of you, and I can also share the notes that has been finally prepared. Okay, so I had created a session recently on cohabitation, but वो हम लोग का closed, वही EPW वाले group का था, तो उसमें कोहैबिटेशन रिलेशनशिप्स, जिसको हम लोग लिव इन रिलेशनशिप्स कहते हैं, जिसपे क्वेश्चन आ भी चुका है। सोशियोलॉजी में एक क्वेश्चन आया था और जीएस में भी आ सकता है, रीजन दैट इट्स कॉन्स्टेंटली इन न्यूज, कभी मर्डर कर दिया, मार दिया, कभी उसका लीगैलिटी क्या है, कभी यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड को लेकर। तो एक बहुत अच्छा आर्टिकल आया था ईपीडब्ल्यू में, तो कैसे नोट्स बनाते हैं उसका, और पहले तो पूरा डिटेल एक्सप्लेनेशन सुन लिया, और फिर नोट्स कैसे बनाते हैं उसका नोट्स भी आपको वहीं पे नीचे लिंक में शेयर कर दूंगी, चलेगा? ठीक है, so we'll do that. Being a science student, I face difficulty to connect with the material, previous year question paper. Okay, so Chetna, with respect to that, I think you joined the session a bit late. So I would be like, when I'm talking about this given segment, Chetna, when you're asking about it, with respect to students pertaining to science background, what I can say is that about this is something which I had started the session with. 80% of students are from science background who take sociology as an optional. It's a really good optional because it has a scientific temperament. First 3 chapters ही आप देखोगे ना सोशियोलॉजी का, सोशियोलॉजी एज साइंस, sociology and common sense, कैसे common sense is sociology अलग है, research methods and techniques. So it creates that facilitation for a science background student. Second thing, before going for PYQ, first make a gist of the entire chapter that you have studied. After making the gist, then do the PYQ. This is what I can share. Meanwhile, in the previous year question, I always help the students, when I complete the chapter, I help the students to decode the question and deconstruct the question. Because when you deconstruct the question, you break open the question into multiple segments. These are the aspirations. This is how the question is twisted. This is how the content can be built. So that's what I can say. टेलीग्राम ग्रुप, बेटा टेलीग्राम ग्रुप ना जब एडमिशन हो जाता है, मैनेजमेंट मुझे लिस्ट भेजता है, जो लिस्ट होता है ना फिर उसी के बेसिस पे ग्रुप बना दिया जाता है. सो ओपन चैनल, इफ यू वांट टू हैव एक्सेस टू द ओपन चैनल, एक तो पब्लिक चैनल मेरे नाम से, माय ऑफिशियल नेम इज SWETA, श्वेता से UPSC. So you will find sociology का material या open, जैसे मुझे कुछ curious लग रहा है पॉलिटी का या social issues का, ethics का, so I keep sharing some or the other thing, anything which motivates me, inspires me, or any student and any student's journey material, whatever I feel is helpful for a student, I keep sharing. So you can just have that. If you are asking about the academic closed group, I facilitate the access to that academic closed group as well, whatever the management provides me. So there, the discretion of the management rules. So that's what. Any other question? Any other question? Chetna, am I clear? I hope that is fine. A brief insight related to the same. So just like, first prepare the notes, then see the question paper. If the notes are well prepared, deconstructing the question paper is easy. I have done GS paper 1 Indian society discussion on this platform only. So you can just go through the GS paper 1 discussion. It is available last year October when the exam happened. So I helped deconstruct the GS questions. When you listen to that explanation, you will get an idea how questions are deconstructed and how to respond to the question. If you are able to deconstruct a GS question, you will be able to deconstruct a sociology question also, right? Okay, fine. Is sociology NCERT necessary? No, not really. Anyone who's curious, sociology NCERT, it's not necessary. Sociology NCERT is like a book for students who are going for standard 11th, students who are going for sociology as a subject in 11th, 12th. They are thinking, should I take a BA in sociology or not? So the material is very, very simple. Whereas in UPSC, the optional syllabus is somewhere between BA and MA. Few topics of MA and a majority of the topics of BA. If you club that, that is something what comprises of UPSC sociology optional syllabus. सो एनसीईआरटी इज लाइक जैसे बच्चे कोचिंग शुरू करने के 10 दिन पहले टीचर से पूछते हैं क्या पढ़ लें, उनको भी लगता है चल थोड़ा सा एनसीईआरटी पढ़ के मूड बना लो फिर आ जाओ क्लास में. सो दैट इज व्हाट इज सेड. सो अगर मुझे मूड ही बनाना होगा मैं बोल दूंगी एसेंशियल सोशियोलॉजी पढ़ लो, कम से कम वो किताब आगे भी काम आएगी. जिस टॉपिक में थोड़ा स्टक हुआ है पहले से एक ओवरव्यू ले लिया फिर लेक्चर सुन लिया, तो देन यू आर लाइक ओ दैट वाज बेसिक, द लेक्चर इज मोर इंटेंस एंड दैट्स द लेवल दैट पीवाईक्यू इज गेटिंग टैलीड. So that's how the journey gets created. Anything else that I can support you with? Any student, any question? All good? All good? This is what I can see. All right. So if everything is done, अरे बाकी जो बच्चे अटेंड कर रहे हैं सेशन कुछ तो लिख लीजिए. So if you can just write any gesture, I'll get an idea that you have got a comprehensive understanding. Then I'll just wrap up the session. That means should I start from a standard book? Yes. I have given the book list. Any student who is curious कहाँ से पढ़ना शुरू करें, क्या बुक्स खरीद लेना ठीक रहेगा, 5-10 बुक खरीद लें. तो एक तो ये खरीद लेना एसेंशियल सोशियोलॉजी, दूसरा हार्लम्बस एंड हॉलबॉर्न थीम्स एंड पर्सपेक्टिव्स. ये 2 बुक तो आप खरीद सकते हो पेपर 1 के लिए. ठीक है. ये हार्लम्बस एंड हॉलबॉर्न थीम्स एंड पर्सपेक्टिव्स की जगह एक आएगी ऑरेंज कलर की बुक भी, दैट इज हार्लम्बस एंड हील्ड. वो मत खरीदना क्योंकि हार्लम्बस एंड हील्ड पतली है, तो अक्सर बच्चों को लगता है पतली बुक खरीद लो. नहीं, वो बुक में केस स्टडीज 1970s का है, पुरानी किताब है, बिकॉज द ऑथर हार्लम्बस इज सेम, हील्ड के साथ कोलैबोरेशन पुराना था. सो उसमें 1970s के केस स्टडीज है. नए वाले को लो हार्लम्बस एंड हॉलबॉर्न, इसमें आपको मिलेगा 2010 तक का केस स्टडी. तो रिसर्च तो तभी बेहतर है ना जितना ज्यादा अपडेटेड हो. सो टेक हार्लम्बस एंड हॉलबॉर्न. क्या पूरी किताब पढ़नी है? नहीं, मैं पेज नंबर के साथ बता देती हूँ. व्हेन द बैच स्टार्ट्स I'll post it in the telegram channel that which chapter from which page to which page पढ़ लेने से हो जाएगा. ठीक है. सो डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट. शुरुआत में आप सोशियोलॉजिकल पर्सपेक्टिव्स पढ़ सकते हो, उसका फर्स्ट चैप्टर भी देख सकते हो. एंड अदर देन दैट उसमें लाइक फैमिली मैरिज किनशिप का चैप्टर अच्छा है, वो तो ऐसे भी इंटरेस्टिंग लगता है ना, तो एक नजर डाल सकते हो वो सब चीजों पर. Should I buy all books? No, not all books. Start with only 2 books, these 2. This one, Essential Sociology, Harlambus and Hallborn. Do some warm up. Don't jump into things. First, do a basic warm up. This is what I'll say. इसमें अगर आप पूछोगे कि मैम इसमें हम लोग कौन सा खरीद लें, तो इसमें आई विल बी लाइक सजेस्टिंग, जैसे सारी बुक अच्छी है यार, आई रियली लव ऑल दीज ऑथर्स, बट इट्स जस्ट दैट आपको कुछ वो देना होगा. ये आप ये ले सकते हैं, वीना दास मैम का भी बुक बहुत अच्छा है. इसके लिए आप क्या करिएगा, एक बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए मैं आपको कह सकती हूँ, इग्नू का जो मटेरियल है ना पेपर 2 का, उससे आपका एक बेसिक ओवरव्यू बनना शुरू हो जाएगा. इग्नू से आप स्टार्ट करिएगा. इग्नू का मटेरियल आपको ऑनलाइन में मिल जाएगा सॉफ्ट कॉपी में, इफ यू आर इनटू सॉफ्ट कॉपी रीडिंग, if you have a tablet or something. And if not, then IGNU material, don't buy the entire bundle, just buy it topic after topic, little bundles, and have a target and then complete that. That's how you can do that. All right. So, all right, I hope all the queries have been sorted. If there are any further queries, please keep me posted. I'll keep responding to it in due time. All right. So thank you. I'll be taking one more workshop on 3rd of July. It will be different from this one. This one was more detailed, pertaining to the syllabus, pertaining to the previous year questions. The approach was very different from a regular workshop. And I took a detailed one because I thought today the students will be coming who will be like not the ones appearing for prelims this year, and they will be more like in a relaxed pace to think, to choose which optional is the best one. So I can go in detailed discussion. So I took the liberty today. On 3rd of July, I'll be giving an overview, taking more of questions, queries. I'll be taking more of insight associated with like the planner, and a lot of things I'll be sharing which will be distinct. So hope to see you on 3rd, as well as like see you on 16th of July as we commence the course. Thank you so much, all of you. Take care and best wishes from my side. Have an awesome day and an awesome preparation ahead. I'm always there to support you in my like capacity, whatever I can provide to all of you. Thank you so much. Take care.